Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another Tech Social. Thanks for being here. My name is Gabi. I'm a business analyst here at Cogent. And today we will be talking about SAP Business Technology Platform, BTP. So we're pretty excited to explore this world, latest innovations and insights from our panelists or speakers, which are Edgar. Edgar is always our moderator. He's an associate director here at Cogent. And then we have Miguel and Alfonso. Both are SAP consultants and tech leads at Cogent as well. So welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone. And yes, we can start. Edgar, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Gabi. Yeah, so today we will explore SAP BTP, as Gabi was mentioning. And I think something we need to know about SAP BTP is that it started as SAP Cloud Platform. And basically, it was this initiative that SAP had to bring cloud services into the SAP world. So that was some time ago, I think over 10 years. And then the service and the platform have evolved and have changed. Originally, they were using some proprietary technology for what was known as the Neo platform. And now they are opening the platform itself to new technologies in new services. So today we will be talking about that. And after that short introduction, I would also like to hear from Alfonso. I believe he has some slides prepared that we will go over, and then we will talk more about what it is and how we can use it for business scenarios. So over to you, Alfonso.
Thank you, Edgar. Let me share my screen. Okay, I think we need to click here. You're seeing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, let's talk about BTP. But what is SAP BTP? Well, BTP stands for Business Technology Platform, powered by SAP. And as the name says, it is a platform where you can build, extend, or integrate solutions for SAP and non-SAP systems. And within this platform, we have different resources, tools, and services that we can use in order to build, create, or integrate solutions. Okay, I think Rob wants to. Okay, so we have development tools in BTP. We have different frameworks. We have microservices. We have infrastructure as a service, such as HANA Cloud, or a couple of more databases. We have connectors. We have AI specialized services, and many other things that we can use in order to achieve our goal for enterprises, right? Okay, so how it works, BTP? Well, we have first the infrastructure, that is SAP use the big three, the cloud providers, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and a couple of data centers owned by SAP. And also they are integrating more providers, such as Alibaba Cloud, for example, and I think IBM. Okay, so BTP runs over these infrastructure providers, cloud providers. Then we have the cloud technology that obviously is provided by SAP. And here is where we have the platform. Okay, so we have the infrastructure, then we have the platform where all the services, tools, frameworks, and everything is running over this infrastructure. And in BTP, we have like 92 different services available. Okay, so on top of these cloud providers, BTP runs and is the SAP cloud technology that allow enterprises and individuals to build, integrate, or extend cloud solutions and cloud native applications. And as I said, we have like 92 services available right now, but they are integrating or adding more services, and some other are removing because technologies and those kind of things. Okay, so here something that you want to add, Miguel or Edgar, or somebody has a question to hear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would like to add, or maybe explain a little bit here that what we are saying is that this platform, right, it's running as a set of services and a administration console. But as we can see, the actual runtime for it, it can be any of these major providers, meaning it is a platform, it is software that is running atop these providers. And something that I like about BTP is that not only it is providing these 92 services that, as you said very well, are distributed in different categories and in different pieces of functionality that we can use to build solutions, but also they managed to achieve some maturity, and now they integrate also with some of the services from the hyperscalers, right? So for example, originally I remember that with BTP, we could store files directly, and then we had to build like a file explorer so we could see the files that were there inside BTP, etc. And now, for example, you can connect to AWS S3, that is this AWS file storing service. And then you don't have to do all of that management inside BTP because they are relying on these other services that these major service providers are offering, right? So I like that interaction between these cloud platforms, in the way that you can merge the services, the ones that come from BTP and the ones that come from other cloud providers. And in that way, you can also build these applications and make them more robust and offer more capabilities to your users. So I think that's important to mention, that they are not really competing with these hyperscalers, but rather they are offering these complementary services that are really business focused and business related. And the main idea is that you can build these workflows and these business processes faster, right? So that's a little bit about what I can see here. And of course, everything is always related or integrated with SAP. So that tight integration really happens with BTP, no? So
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Edgar. So yeah, and something that I want to mention is that we have been working with SAP for many years now. Well, I think historically SAP solutions has been criticized because integrating SAP solutions with non-SAP solutions is complex and difficult and maybe expensive. So that's why I want to mention something here in BTP that is actually opening the SAP world to different solutions and different software providers, right? So, and there is a special layer in BTP that we can see as connectors or different solutions to integrate SAP with different services or other software. So that's why I want to mention this special mention, these cloud connectors that are available in BTP. And these could be services, could be a complete suite with different services, such as the integration suite that has like 3 or 4 different services to integrate SAP ERP, such as S4 or ECC, with different non-SAP systems. We have the open connector. This open connector is part of the, for example, you can use open connector to connect with GCP with an AWS S3 bucket or different API, open APIs. So you can use open connector for that. And then we have the API management, where there are 2 different type of APIs here. We have the business API hub, that is all the APIs that SAP has been built, ready to use for S4 or for ECC, using the OData service. And we have also, you can manage your own APIs. So if you build an own API, you can manage here with this service. So yes, I like to mention this because I think now is too easy, or well, not too easy, but it's easier to integrate SAP with different solutions and a very large volume of solutions right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
I think it's also important to mention for those consultants that are not familiar with SAP, that SAP, as you mentioned, it tends to be its own world, right? I remember when I started developing software, I heard about SAP and I knew it was an ERP system, but personally I thought like, yeah, it must be a small thing and just, you know, like running some processes of the companies. But once that you enter that world, you get to see it is huge, right? Imagine a piece of software that you can use to run an entire company. So many of these business services, many of these processes are very complex, and that integration with the outside world was, as Alfonso was mentioning, was difficult. So with this layer, with these special services, now it is easier to connect and to interact with SAP as opposed to what was there before. And the good thing with opening these services and opening this information is that you can now develop applications that can connect to SAP easily, right? Especially for these standard services that are now available, especially in S4HANA systems. You can now, for example, create purchase orders. You can retrieve information for sales. You can do many applications that interact with that information that is core for the companies. And now it's easier, because earlier you had to really create everything from scratch pretty much, and then it was clumsy and difficult, and now you get multiple options, and now you can really interact with it. So I think it's...
I'd like to, sorry, Edgar,
Sure.
add something there. Yeah, I also had that perspective when I started to work in SAP. And the main problem I identified there was about the usability. Because like in SAP, as you know, I'm not sure exactly the date or the creation of this project, but it was focused on from the processes, okay, more from like the process logic or layer. So that's why, for example, we had those SAP functional consultants training their employees, right, about how to use SAP.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I also identified that one. It's like once they started to work in SAP is for HANA and SAP Fiori, that paradigm has changed, right? And actually, I can see this one as following the same behavior and the same paradigm. It's like, yeah, we need to focus on the usability. We need to offer a better product in terms of integration, like a better way to use like a friendly project.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is very true, Miguel. And another thing maybe worth sharing is that with the new versions, as you mentioned, you get a better user interface, and then you get to extend that over here in the BTP platform. So that's also worth it of using this platform. Yeah. You may continue, Alfonso, if you want. Sorry to interrupt there. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so this layer and these whole services that are available on BTP allow us to integrate with different solutions, as we said, such as AWS, Azure, and GCP, different SAP products, for example, S4 or ECC or MDG, or different solutions of SAP, on-premise or on cloud. But also we can integrate with different databases or different applications. And something that I think is pretty cool from BTP is that we can create native cloud applications from scratch and deploy it using the Cloud Foundry principles. That is, Cloud Foundry is I think the leader of cloud development, and it is hosted by Linux Foundation. So right now, I think SAP are using like the technologies that are proven and are uses by many providers. And these kind of things allow us or allow SAP to integrate with a lot of different solutions that was, I mean, in the past, it was kind of difficult or expensive and complex to do that. Okay. Any questions or something that you want to add?
Perhaps about Cloud Foundry that you can run, or you have different runtimes, meaning, for example, if you want to develop a Node.js application in JavaScript, then you can use that, and you can run it and connect it to all the other services, right? So that really gives you flexibility, and they have different runtimes. So they have a runtime for Python and for Java and for different languages. So I think that's what it makes it special, that you can pick your language and then create your applications there, right?
Sure. Okay, so just to recap, we have the infrastructure using hyperscaler or SAP data centers. Then we have the SAP technology, cloud technology, that is the business technology platform, or BTP. Then we have, in this layer, we have connectors and integration services, and we can create or integrate pretty nice solutions using all the cloud providers, existing cloud providers, in-house applications, SAP solutions, and we can build a nice solutions for enterprises using BTP. Okay.
Sorry, Alfonso. From the API layer, are they using OData or different protocol?
You can build also REST APIs.
Okay.
But the APIs that are built by SAP, they are using OData.
Okay.
Version 2 or version 4, they have both.
Great.
Okay. Okay, so now I like to post these benefits, the sources, this assessment that IDC do or did, sorry, for SAP BTP. So they interview different enterprises and they wrote a white paper that is available online. And this is the benefits that they are listed. So empowering teams responsible for creating value through the use of data, including analytics, DBA teams, and ensuring higher quality of data, faster access to data, and richer reporting. So in the next slides, we will see an example architecture of this point. BDP ensures effective and impactful development efforts and faster completion of projects by leverage deeper integration and more efficient approaches that include low-code development functionality. Because right now in BTP, we have services to create applications using the drag and drop approach for functional people, for example, non-technology people. And also, for example, the SAP Analytics Cloud is a solution focused on the final user, not in technology user. So you can create reports and reports or dashboards using also the like drag and drop approach. Capturing cross-organization of efficiencies through automation of business processes, including embedded artificial intelligence capabilities. For example, also in SAP Analytics Cloud, they have a special service to create, they have models, AI models to use this AI in your reports or in your dashboards. And also they have different AI services specialized in AI to create different solutions. Okay, and realizing cost savings and staff efficiencies by moving to a unified cloud-based platform to run their SAP ecosystems. Okay. Maybe you want to add something, another benefit that maybe you can see. Huh?
Maybe something else that we haven't mentioned about the DB in the data management is that SAP is running also SAP HANA there in the cloud. And basically, SAP HANA is a in-memory database, meaning that whenever you have a in-memory database, instead of having your data stored in the disk and then looking for it every time you make a query, everything goes into memory, and then all the access gets super fast, right? So something that happens there is that when you want to make reports, you don't have to go and look for all the data. Rather, all of the data lives there in memory. So it really brings all of that data way faster. And then, you know, in the past, whenever you wanted a report from SAP, then it might run for hours or even days. I remember when people are trying to do the month's end closure on the financial side, then in the companies, they used to run these reports, and sometimes it took 2 or 3 days to extract the report and realize that something was wrong. And then they had to run it again, and it was a very complex process because people used to even not sleep trying to get those reports. And that was like the old way of doing it because the amounts of data that they have to process are very large. And whenever we are talking about in-memory databases, then what happens is that those reports are generated in matter of minutes or maybe hours, depending on how large they are. But definitely the time that it takes is dramatically reduced, right? So that means that you can really get all of these reports and all of that. SAP advertises it as nearly in real time, meaning that as things change in the database, you can, on the other hand, see those changes in a dashboard, for example, and then you can practically run your company as if you were driving a car. So whenever you see something is happening, because you are almost seeing it in real time, then you can start adjusting the processes. So you can start steering your company again towards whatever goal that you have at that point. So I think that's pretty interesting, and it's part of the innovations that you get access to whenever you are working with the cloud platform with BTP, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and also I think that something maybe is simplest here in the last point, but having BTP in your organization reduces the TCO, the total cost ownership, and that's something that I want to add, because I have seen recently that organizations don't want to use BTP, and they use over BTP, they use PI or PO solutions for integration, and they have to buy the licenses, install the infrastructure, install the SAP solution, do the development, and then maintain the development, but also the system, right? So that's a lot of work. That's the way that we did 5 or 10 years ago. But right now, using BTP, in the day one, you can start to do the integration, and you don't have to pass by the installations, by the infrastructure, by the maintaining and those kind of things that reduces or takes a lot of time and make complex the solution, right? Okay.
Interesting point. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because I can see when you have this availability in terms of infrastructure, and you don't need to deal with that infrastructure, that means you can scale up easily, but I'm not sure about the cost savings there. I think that will be connected with the way you create the architecture and the solution, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but
also that happens with AWS. If you don't create from scratch a good architecture, then it will generate a lot of cost.
Yeah, well, obviously you need to ensure that your solution is the best, and that's why, and also maybe that's why some organizations has choose a different solution over BTP, because I think the knowledge in the market is not too much, and maybe they want to use something that is proven, or are many other professionals doing that. Maybe that's one of the reason, but I think you need to use BTP. If you're a customer, an SAP customer, BTP is a must, not an option.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how BTP looks like. It's a web platform, web application where you can manage all the services. So this is pretty cool. It's something that you can manage your different environments, and there is something that called sub-account. And the sub-account, I mean, in one directory or one environment, you can have different sub-accounts. And these sub-accounts, you can activate or deactivate the services provided by BTP. Okay, so we have here an example of directories and sub-accounts. We have the main global account. Then we have 3 different directories. In here we have 1 sub-account that is called development, and this is running on this region. Okay. So here is something that I want to show you, that the infrastructure is provided by hyperscalers. We have AWS, Google Platform, Microsoft Azure,
Awesome.
and you can choose in what region you want to deploy your sub-account. And all the services running in this sub-account will be running on top of this cloud provider. Okay. And here are the different services that you can activate or deactivate, and they are divided in different solutions: AI, development, data analytics, foundation, integration, and others. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how it looks like. And here is a sample architecture. This is provided by, it's a sample architecture provided by AWS. So here you have we have different SAP applications such as S4 HANA, BW, ECC, and I think this is a pretty, I mean, many organizations have these different SAP solutions. Then we want to use, for example, Amazon Athena or S3 or Redshift to create AI models or data science or something specific. And the way that we want to use both solutions, AWS and SAP, is through BTP. Okay, so we have here the HANA Cloud that is database in memory, as Setgar said, running on the cloud. And we can use the data warehouse cloud that is provided by BTP. And we can use, for example, here as the SAP Analytics Cloud, that is a reporter where we can see the information, the dashboard, the different reports, the different analysis. Using BTP, AWS, and the SAP solutions. So this is the kind of the things that we can do using BTP that maybe in other, I mean, in the past, it could be very difficult to achieve these kind of solutions.
Definitely.
Okay, I don't know if you want to add something.
I think here we are seeing what we spoke about before, right? That we have the SAP layer, and as we can see, we have plenty of different systems that might be available for the customers. And then on the other hand, we have the AWS set of services, but in this case, we are calling it AWS, but it can be GCP or Azure.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can see in the middle the whole set of services that we can use to administer or to manage data and to make the conversions. And even though we are seeing here a static diagram, we can see a lot of things happening. With the numbers, for example, we can see how we are federating the data, how we are replicating the data. And then on the other hand, we process it, right? And then it comes back into the BTP platform for presenting the results with the analytics cloud. So we can see like all the interactions that are happening here and all the possibilities that we get by using BTP, right? So it's not only the single SAP layer where you limit yourself to whatever services you have available, but rather this broader scope, this broader set of capabilities that you can use. And then by mixing them and combining them, then having this nice architecture, as you guys were talking about, then you can create really dynamic applications and then present that information the business owners or the business stakeholders that need this particular information, right? And here we are seeing like one layer that is the data layer. And then as Alfonso mentioned, we might have different services, different layers, like AI layers, like development layers, integration layers. So there are many other things that we can do in where we can really combine all of these services and come up with new solutions, right?
Sure.
What about the security there, Alfonso? How do you protect the data and the applications interaction between each?
Well, there are different services also for specializing in data replication or federation. And they encrypt information, and also they use tokens and everything secure in order to achieve or to ensure the security of the data between different solutions. And only because we are on the cloud, right? Also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for example, here in BTP, we have like a connector that you can use it in order to not to expose all the infrastructure, your own infrastructure. For example, you have an ECC running on premise, right? And this is on your network, and you can use the cloud connector in order to do that bridge between the cloud and the on-premise solutions, and it encrypt the data and
Awesome.
add a capability of security using the users and different passwords and tokens. And that's the way that you can manage the security of the data.
Good.
Okay. Well, I think is all that I have prepared.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Alfonso. Yeah. So I also have a few resources that I want us to review. So I'll share my screen real quick. And then I think what's great about the BTP platform now is that we can have tons of information, right? Originally, I remember that it was really hard trying to understand the services, and you had to take particular SAP courses that were, of course, solved, and they were pretty expensive. And right now, they have this policy to open the platform and really, help people start using it, and especially for business and companies to train their employees and then be ready to set it up, right? So one of these, I would say the main resource that you can review is this SAP Business Technology Platform Resource Center. And here, the first thing that you can do is set up your BTP account or request a demo, so you can see how it works and you can start interacting with it. But aside from that, you get tons of different resources, right? You get the documentation, you get these things that they call roadmaps that basically tell you what is the path that you need to follow to become competent in any of the different layers that we spoke about, in any of the different things that you can do in the cloud. Then they have tutorials and demos. So all of that, you can start looking here. They have these learning journeys, and these are also pretty nice because, and we will see some of this, because these learning journeys are like courses that have different chapters, but that basically guide you step by step. So you start getting some hands-on experience, but you also understand the concepts. And the best thing that I can see here is that after you finish some of these learning journeys, you can also get certified. That means you can present the exam, and then if you pass it, then you get your certification and your badge, and then you can really present the knowledge that you have based on these learning journeys. And that is something that I see like very dynamic. I personally tried it a couple of times. And what I liked is that you don't really have to go and look for resources everywhere. You can really focus on the content there and just explore something else. But then you get all the knowledge that you need to get started and start creating these applications, right? So this is really, really useful. Then, of course, they have webinars and they have videos on demand, blogs. A lot of things are happening there. I'm not sure about your experience, Alfonso and Miguel, but I think many of the things that happen in SAP also have to do with these blogs in the SAP community, right? Meaning, whenever you have a question, you can go there and maybe there would be a blog that is talking about it.
They're doing great, definitely. Community. It's very strong.
Yeah. Another resource that I like a lot is the developers, the SAP developers community. That it has a lot of tutorials, very useful tutorials, and they are adding all the time new tutorials for the new services. So I think they are very useful, and I use it a lot. That community.
Yes, that is also true. And I think the other side of it is that it's practical, right? So you really get to be hands-on with the platform, and then you can start practicing there. So this is one, I think the most important resource right now that you want to check if you want to know more about the platform. Then we also have this calculator, right? Many times we want to know how much it will cost to implement the BTP platform or particular services, and that used to be a big unknown on the SAP world, except that you work for or that you were part of a retailer partner. And now you can come here as a normal citizen, and then you can pick the different services that you are planning to use with different service plans, depending on whether you want to do a proof of concept or you are ready to move to production. And then you can also configure it according to your needs. And that will start giving you a amount of, in this case, it can be euros, it can be dollars, but you would know how much you would pay to use these services. So I think this tool is really useful, because in the end you get that estimate, and then you already know upfront what would be the investment that you need to do to start using these services, especially in production, right? Yeah. Because in BTP you also have this free tier where you can start using it and you don't really generate any costs. So that's great to start testing it, to create demos, to create proof of concepts. And whenever you're ready, then you can come here and get your price tag ready. Yeah. So I think that's pretty useful. And these are the learning journeys that we were talking about. This is the basic one. So I'll be sharing this link. Actually, I'll share the links with you guys. And here we can see how we have different lessons and then different units, right? And basically you start getting this walkthrough on the overview of the technology platform, then the architecture and the services. So you get to understand how they are structured, and then you get application development and automation. So here we have this other part that Alfonso was mentioning about the no-code part, that is SAP Build, right? And I think that's a great option as well. Technically, there are like different pieces in play here. And Miguel was talking about data services, right? So I really think that is really the core on the interaction that you get between SAP and everything else that is outside the core. And the data services, real quick, we can see that they are meant to mean entities, business entities, right? So here we are seeing one example of a data service. And basically what it is special and different from other sorts of APIs is that you can get metadata of the service, meaning that you know that there's a entity or something that you can call that is that represents a product, but that product kind of self-described. And we can see here, for example, that if we look at the product, then we can see the different properties that this service has, meaning I could get the ID of the product, the name, the description, etc. But then I also get from the service the type of data that will represent this particular property, right? And I think this is special because once that you get this metadata, once that the service describes itself, then you can use other tools to take those descriptions and then create applications based on those descriptions. So you don't really need to worry about connecting one piece of information with your user interface. Rather, you get to pick, like, from these services, I want to, display the name, and I want to display the description and the rating, and then the platform in certain parts of certain services are smart enough to take that information and represent the data for you. So that really accelerates the development, right? And I think that's something else that is very special, that really eases the development of applications and can really speed up the way in which you are delivering. I remember one time that we had to generate one report, and it was like super urgent. And I remember that we were thinking about developing the report, etc. And then somebody came up with this idea of using Fiori elements. That is basically this user interface that can interact with data directly. And then the report got ready in about 1 day and a half, right? So everyone was like super happy because they managed to see all the data, and they had the filters, and they could see the details and export it to Excel, and everything came out from one data service that was there, and that was the base to create the solution. So these kind of things are the things that you can create in BTP, and that's why I think it's exciting, right? To have that opportunity to generate this dynamic set of applications so fast. So I'm pretty sure Alfonso and Miguel, you guys got some experience working with OData, right? So what do you think about it?
Yeah, it definitely, you're gonna get a lot of benefits. For example, when I participated in an application trying to get an offline approach, the metadata helped a lot, because you can know, for example, when we have a traditional API, we need to know, we are calling there many times, right? That API. With metadata, for example, you can know exactly the latest payload of data you have received. And from there, you can try with the next pagination, but using that offline approach. That's amazing.
Yes, so it's really useful, especially for the technical teams and also the business teams, right? So
Yeah.
So you can identify one particular API or one particular process, and from there you can start generating solutions out of the box, right? So it's really, really helpful. What about you, Alfonso? Have you created any Fiori Elements applications before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're on mute.
We are almost there, actually. 3 minutes left.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I think few elements are pretty cool approach to create applications. Because as you said, with the OData metadata, you can create, I think, pretty easily the application, and also I think it's pretty fast to achieve the goal. Also, they have limitation, right? Because you cannot create complex applications, but most of the applications required in business, I think you can achieve it using few elements.
Yes, very true. Thank you, Alfonso. Yeah, and finally, we also have this SAP tutorials page. In here, I believe this is similar to what Alfonso was saying.
That actually is that one, the developers. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So here, basically, we can see different tutorials. We can see how much time it will take, what's the level that you need to have, and then you can see step by step, all the things that you need to do to achieve, in this case, for example, one application with build apps, that is this low code, no code platform. And as we can see here, we have all of these components, and then you can drag and drop and have fun. So yeah, those kind of things you can do here, right? Yeah, so I think there are much more things to say about SAP BTP, but for the moment, I think we are reaching our time limit. But I hope that you guys got to know more about the platform and that can explore a bit more about the different services and all the capabilities that are available there. In Alfonso, Miguel, Gabby, would you guys want to give some closing comments?
Well, I just want to say that if you are an SAP customer, you have to use BTP, and I think is the easiest way to develop or extend SAP solutions.
Okay,
right.
I just, first of all, thank you for all this information. It's a very specific and technical topic, but it was very understandable and well explained. So thank you, Alfonso, Edgar, and Miguel. And I want to know if anyone has any questions. It's already time to close the session, but I didn't want to close it without asking this. Or also, the guys already share all the links, so you're more than welcome to copy them and explore. And yeah, so if there's no questions or no more comments, I think we are good for today. Do you guys want to say anything else?
No, thank you so much.
Rob says, great to see my old team continuing to learn and to teach others. Thank you, Rob, for joining today.
Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It was great that you are here. Thank you for joining.
Definitely. Okay, so thanks again. Thank you, Tiro. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone that joined this session and the speakers once again. And we'll see you in another Tech Social. I'll share the flyer a week earlier so we know what the topic is. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Miguel, Alfonso, Edgar, and everyone. See you next time.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Archana.